Welcome to The Explainer. Today, we're diving right into this perfect storm that's hammering the hotels and restaurants we all love. It's a story about massive pressure, constant adaptation, and, frankly, survival. And trust me, it explains a lot about why your next vacation or meal out might feel, well, a little different.
So, have you noticed this? You go to your favorite spot and they're short-staffed, or you look at hotel prices and they've just gone through the roof. Well, that is not your imagination, and it is definitely not a coincidence. These are all symptoms of something much, much bigger. This perfect storm of challenges that's hitting the entire hospitality sector all at once.
So to really get a handle on what's happening, we've got to pull back the curtain. Let's start by looking at the battles these businesses are fighting from the inside, every single day, just to stay afloat.
All right, first up, and this one is huge, the people problem. We're talking about a massive labor crisis. It is just incredibly difficult to find skilled staff right now. Experienced chefs, good managers. This got a whole lot worse after the pandemic, and some major political shifts left huge gaps in the workforce. On top of that, you've got people who are just plain burned out from the crazy long hours, and they're expecting higher wages. It's a real recipe for a constant staffing nightmare.
And here's where it hits home for you and me. This isn't just some abstract business problem. It directly translates into a worse and, more expensive experience for us. Think about it. Fewer chefs might mean a less interesting menu. Not enough servers? You're going to be waiting longer. And those higher wages they have to pay to get anyone in the door? Well, guess where that cost ends up? A lot of the time, it's right there on our bill.
And it's not just about paying people. Look at these numbers. The basic cost of keeping the lights on is just exploding. We're talking energy bills to heat the rooms and run the kitchens, the price of food and drinks. It's all going up and up and up. For a lot of these places, their profit margins are being squeezed down to practically nothing.
So on top of the staffing crisis and the soaring costs, you can pile on a literal mountain of rules and regulations. Everything from health and safety laws and food hygiene standards to really complex data protection stuff like GDPR. It creates this massive administrative headache just to stay on the right side of the law. And a single slip-up? Oh, it's not just a bad day. It can mean huge fines and do serious damage to their reputation.
Okay, so that's the battle inside. But now let's zoom out, because all of those internal problems are being hit by these massive shockwaves coming from the outside world, making everything that much harder.
You know how it is? When the economy feels a bit wobbly and everyone's talking about inflation, what's the first thing we all cut back on? It's the nice-to-haves, right? Stuff like big vacations and fancy meals out. Well, that has a massive, direct impact. It means fewer hotel rooms get booked, people look for shorter, cheaper trips, and way fewer customers are walking through that restaurant door. And this economic pressure leads us right into this new battleground, the battle for bookings. On one side, you have your traditional hotels. They've got high overheads, tons of regulations to follow, and brand standards to maintain. And on the other side, you have the explosion of short-term rentals. They have lower costs, way more flexibility, and they've totally saturated the market. This intense competition has put enormous pressure on prices, and it's fundamentally changing the game.
So you've got this fierce competition, and then you can't even get your basic supplies. Seriously, things we used to take for granted, like getting fresh food delivered or ordering new bed linens, have become this unpredictable, expensive mess. The global supply chain is so unstable that a business owner never knows if their stuff will show up on time or what crazy price they'll have to pay when it finally does.
Okay, so with all of that chaos happening in the background, the costs, the staff, the supply chains, we now have to talk about the most critical piece of the puzzle, the customer. Because the relationship between a business and its guests, the rules for that have completely, totally changed. Just listen to what the modern traveler wants. It's no longer just about a clean room and a decent meal. Today's guest expects a totally seamless digital experience, from booking on their phone to a keyless check-in. They want experiences that feel like they were made just for them. And more, they're voting with their wallets, choosing places that show a real, genuine commitment to sustainability.
So, how do you deliver on all those new expectations? Well, it takes a huge investment in technology. Businesses are essentially being forced into this incredibly expensive digital arms race. They have to master all the online travel sites, they're looking at AI and automation just to keep up, and all the while, they have to defend themselves against a growing wave of cybersecurity threats. It's a race that costs a ton of money and requires a whole new set of skills.
And that brings us to the final, and maybe the scariest, layer of this perfect storm. We're talking about the big existential threats, the kind of challenges that will ultimately decide who makes it through this and who doesn't.
Yeah, sustainability isn't just a nice buzzword anymore. It's pretty much a mandate. There's this immense pressure to hit carbon reduction targets, become more energy efficient, and manage waste properly. The problem is, all of these changes cost a lot of money now, creating this really tough choice between short-term financial pain and long-term survival of your brand. And lastly, there's the constant threat of a crisis you just can't predict. I mean, look at this. The hospitality industry is uniquely exposed to things that can shut down business overnight with zero warning. Pandemics, political instability, natural disasters, any one of these can just pull the rug out from under them. So here's the most important takeaway. None of these problems are happening in a vacuum. They are all interconnected, feeding into each other and making the storm more powerful. The rising costs make it impossible to invest in new tech. The labor shortage makes it a nightmare to meet those new customer demands. It is the compounding effect of all these pressures at once that makes today's situation so incredibly difficult. And all of this leaves us with one big and honestly pretty provocative question. We're looking at a business model that is being attacked from every single direction. So, as this perfect storm keeps raging, is the hospitality industry as we know it just going to break? Or will all this pressure force it to completely reinvent itself into something we haven't even imagined yet?